Remember, that Jamaica is a country. When you talk about all the brethren like Boot Stewart and Sandals, remember that Jamaica gave Boot Stewart here Jamaica, Them give him a plane for himself, brethren. And it was so sickening.
In regards to tourism, right? How will Melissa or the effects of Melissa impact tourism on the short term and also the economic confidence of Jamaicans and the world's view of Jamaica as it rebuilds?
Watch this, my brother. From 1999, we had what was called a tourism master plan. I had to review that plan in my PhD work. And the tourism master plan said that Jamaica should really look at what is called an alternative approach towards tourism. Not the sun, sea, and sun approach, but more what them call nature tourism and things still,
Eco-tourism, far right?
Yes, eco-tourism. Some more nature-based tourism. The man never adapt those things. You see, people like to think about tourism. Tourism, them said bring in the most foreign exchange in Jamaica. And also employ a significant part of the population. But let me tell you something. Do you know that tourism is a sector that at the least, I want people to listen to this carefully because some people like to jump to conclusion, at the least positive multiplier effect on the Jamaican economy. What do I mean by that? The leakage, and some of these guys in government are liars. The leakage from tourism was estimated to be 70%, which means that 70 cents out of every dollar generated in tourism leaves the country. It was up to 90%. To make it worse, if you speak to a sister like Dr. Caroline Hale, who speaks about the tourism system, she talks about the industry, the hotels, the generating market, and the transit route. What she's saying is that 80% of the dollar is already spent in the generating market. So in this case, let us say the United States, the generating market, 80% of the dollar is already spent in the generating market and in the transit routes. So between the booking people and the planes. So it's only 20 cents comes to Jamaica. And out of that 20 cents, 70% of that 20 cents leaves Jamaica and go back overseas.
Far right, hold on, far right. I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was that bad. Because when I speak about tourism, people say I'm talking foolishness. But continue. I didn't know it was that bad. I knew it was bad.
No, because most of people don't know.
And I think, what I think what occurs too is that you see the social media, there's a pro and con to this thing. One of the pros is exposure to the island. But one of the cons is the misconception about what's going on in the island. They see people, they see a person with a lot of views in Jamaica. So in their mind, they figure tourism is booming. When I'm there and I was in Montego Bay in June, I was talking to the taxi drivers. Friday said it was quiet. They was waiting for Sunfest.
And remember, this is in the context of Jamaica getting the number one destinations about 2 to 3 years in the last 5 years, And it's also about Jamaica having about 5 million tourists coming here, So what you have is that tourists come to Jamaica, then go to the hotels that are controlled by TUI and the German, because most hotels in Jamaica, though they might think say those are Spanish-owned hotels, those are actually owned by Germany and the Spanish brand. So them come to the hotels, them go to the hotels, the money is spent in the hotels, and the money leave. The people in the hotels are underpaid, overworked, and trapped in a culture of subservience. No, I'm not saying that it don't create a job, But the jobs that it creates cannot meaningfully improve the quality of lives of the people. Someone say, okay, knife. So you talk about tourism and like tourism not good. What should we do? Do you know that agriculture makes up about 8% of the GDP already? And the data had shown that if we had a $4 billion investment in agriculture, we could actually double the contribution of the GDP to 16%. And if you double the contribution of agriculture to the GDP, because it feeds into manufacturing, which is also a big part of the GDP, I think about 7 or 9%. Don't quote me on that. Maybe just check by the figure. It will also boost the improvement in manufacturing. Those will give more meaningful contribution to people life. No, I'm not saying that you're going to get rid of the hotels, because that is for them part of the business. And let me tell you my bias, truly my brother. I write the National MSME and Entrepreneurship Policy. See? So I'm also of a mindset when I was thinking about how do we endogenize growth, meaning say how do we ensure that the engine of growth is owned and controlled and generated from your own country. See, that is where my mindset is. So when people hear my reason like this because of the amount of research we do, and also my research focus. And in doing the research, I have to also look at what at the macro level and the micro level. Tourism has never really endogenized. It can't endogenize growth because it's not owned yourself because of the leakages. So if you have focus on those in the micro, small, and medium enterprise. Now, the people in the alternative tourism industry, like the community-based tourism and the ecotourism, they will form a part of the micro, small, and medium enterprise. The sun and sea and sand hotels, those are in the big business, and those are the ones that have the leakage. So I'm saying the status quo can continue to focus on their thing, but I'm saying concurrently, it don't have to be a zero-sum game. It don't have to be one or the other. I am saying just as how you put so much incentives into building out that form of tourism, why we don't put the same incentive in building out the more community-based tourism, which you know is going to impact people more, agriculture, which are going to impact people more, the cultural and creative industries, that is going to impact people more because the cultural and creative industries have about 14 different areas. Control the mining sector properly, which means that when you negotiate with the people for extraction of things, you do it properly, you don't sell out your country. Jamaica and the Caribbean never need tourism in the bridging. That was a strategy developed in the 1980s. Sorry. Under Reagan and Thatcher in the bridging. When them creators was called the Tourism Act, you know, as a trap. It's not asking this. It's a trap. We become dependent. You cannot be dependent on an industry that you do not have control over. So now you're going to have a big fallout in tourism. Do you know? And when I said these things more, the people go check it out. That the poorest parishes in Jamaica are the ones that are tourism dependent. The poorest parishes in Jamaica are the ones that are tourism dependent. St. Thomas, Portland, St. Ann, St. James, and one more, St. Mary. So we're talking about St. James, which is the tourism capital in the Caribbean, and St. Ann is two different worlds. So you have one where the tourism and one where the other people. And there's no filtering of the tourism dollar into those communities. That's why poverty is so high. That's why poverty is so high. Why you think I'm you then Mobile? Who say a scam? I say, well, who them take back things from white people? Because you them get so disgusted with the tourism. Because them see them mother and them sister and them brother working at the hotel. And them not make no money. You think you can tell me if I go work in a hotel? If tourism was doing something good for Jamaica, we would have had a very big inflow of youths wanting to go to work into the hotel. Why else much youth are going to work in BPO, which is modern day free zones, but it's a technology-based free zone. Like we have the free zone in Jamaica in the 1980s where people are so shirt sleeve and everything. You have people with degrees. It's Joe the Bridging upon Bridging. Jamaica has never met the demand for agriculture output locally nor globally. Jamaica cannot meet the demand for Jamaica manufactured products globally. And I'm not talking about trying to feed a Chinese man or a guy in Germany or France Jamaican food now. I'm just saying if we were to produce, to supply the Jamaican and the Caribbean diaspora, if the Caribbean was to create a diaspora export-led strategy for agriculture and manufacturing, because we have 25 million people in the Caribbean and the same outside of the Caribbean. We cannot feed our own Caribbean people locally and in the diaspora.
What's the tax situation for hotels in Jamaica? Are they paying taxes? Are they tax exempt? Can you clarify that for us, please?
All right, fire. Yeah, my man. Yesterday I mentioned the Tourism Act, which has been repealed just a couple years ago. In the Tourism Act in the 1980s, if you're going to establish a tourist in Jamaica, a hotel in Jamaica, all you have to do is come with the money. You don't pay duties for anything. You don't pay tax on anything. You don't pay profit tax. You don't pay nothing. It's a free ride. We pay you, literally, to build a hotel in Jamaica and take the money outside of Jamaica. It's just a couple of years ago. And I'll tell you something with them having the act. If you should improve upon your hotel to build like additional 7 rooms, you get an next extension and not paying any tax or anything like that. So it's the most, as a matter of fact, if you do research done by Prof. Clayton, Carlin Hale, Ian Boxhill, Ramji Singh, I do some research as well, my brother Andrew Spencer. Those are people may I call who are some of the lead writers in the tourism, especially Andrew Spencer and Carlin Hale. When you do the review, you'll find that the only reason the hotels in Jamaica were competitive is because they are overly subsidized and incentivized. Remember that Jamaica is a country, when you talk about all the brethren like Butch Stewart and Sandals, remember that Jamaica gave Butch Stewart Air Jamaica, Them give him a plane for himself, brethren. And it was so sickening that it was cheaper for a tourist to travel from the Americas into Jamaica than for a Jamaican to come to Jamaica. Because the flights were subsidized, and even though it is shorter to come from anywhere to Kingston, it costs more to land in Kingston than to travel to Mobile. Because Mobile was a tourism destination. Hey, them guys are some wicked people when you check it out, And you see, sometimes we have these discussions, people not gonna like the truth, But it's them guys, the fire, them wicked. That's the only way. For 30 odd years now, 40 odd years, nearly 50 odd years, them other people on this kind of subservience kind of thing. On these guys, like I said, building Jamaica. You go and check tourist hotels. We're one of the places that were polluting the oceans and the rivers the most. We did a work on Canary, who pays for water. Myself and Karen here did that work. And we did that work. I decided I'm not going to no sea on the North Coast. No, though. In recent years, they have done a lot of work in the hotels in terms of water disposal, etc. So those things are in my own thinking now. Them clean up and things still. But I'm still saying, normal is an over-subsidized industry. It is not efficient. It is not efficient. When I did Germany, when I did France the other day, I take a picture, I take a video of a hotel that I was in, And I sent it to her, I said, boy, it's the smallest hotel room this I ever go in. The bathroom come like an airplane bathroom. If it's a fat man, you can't even turn on in the bathroom. The place is so small. I want to stretch, I want to yoga stretch, and I can't have no space to stretch and thing. And I'm saying to myself, no wonder when them white people and them other people come to Jamaica and other places in the Caribbean and go in them hotel room, which are some big room. The hotel room them bigger than some of the people in my apartment them have in France. In Paris in particular. The hotel rooms in Jamaica and in the wider Caribbean are bigger than apartments that these people live in France. That's what I said today. So it's an over-subsidized industry that rapes Jamaica and gives very little to the people working. You see, the people who are going to jump up and talk and some of these things negatively, ask them, why is it that before the hurricane, the majority of labor unrest in Jamaica were workers in the tourism industry, in the hotels, especially the all-inclusives. Because if people happy in them work, them not demonstrate. They matter about how them treat them, and matter about the poor pay. That's even when Sandals went to Antigua, the Antiguan government them say, what you know? Don't come to Antigua with that kind of tourism product that you have in Jamaica. Keep your hotel in Jamaica if you want. They must go online and type in these things now. Go online and type in Sandals and Antigua. You can see where the Prime Minister run them out of them country. Because they want to go to the same foolishness that the Jamaican government sold out the Jamaican people in the 1980s. And a man I jump and say, oh, it's under Siaga. Because you have people who are PNP now. And I'm with Siaga. Siaga was the Prime Minister. But Michael Mann them was the opposition. And the Prime Minister can't make things and do things without the opposition. Because if the opposition want, they can rise all the people against it. So all of these decisions, either implicitly or explicitly is agreed upon by both political parties. When you start to have the quarrel, it's going to come near to election, so I'm going to try to get into government. But when I'm in government, they have not done anything fundamentally different to transform the quality of lives of people. If you read a book by Rex Ford, I try to remember the name of the book there. Now I remember it now. But if say what the man just give a kind of flag and a national anthem, man, but they have not done anything significant to transform the lives of the people in Jamaica, you know. Them guys, they have not, through tourism, has not really improved the people's quality of life. And as I say again, you see the data showing that the highest incidence of poverty in parishes are those that depend upon tourism. Yeah, it stay away, you know, and then these guys have so much money. I say, man, create a what call tourism enhancement fund, you know. I mean, know the people who responsible for the fund, you know. And the objective of the fund was to support the alternative tourism program. Seeing some credit when call it TEF. But I don't see no word for things are going. So even though Aboriginal name Cleary in charge of it, I don't think so Cleary them decide where the money is spent. Seeing it's still I see my sponsor like Carnival with Kamal, the banks them. You them I know. But them you then and you them not go to know people. For that I go straight to Kamal them and the whole of the man them who are friends same way and all them man they link up with the government and politics the same way, you know. So it's not like say you support someone you know so got impact the broader Jamaican space in any systemic way. You know, these are just cosmetic things them and them dealing with and things, you know.